Well, this is gonna be a slightly different episode of The Ava Show because oh my god, I can't stop sweating. And the reason I can't stop sweating is because the room is 78.9 degrees. And I have my hair down. And the reason I have my hair down is because I'm Dark Bella. Are you sure we're ready to get into that now? No, we're not. I'm Ava. I promise I'm Ava. Hold on, I need to put my hair up. It's just too sweaty. And now, of course, with this new updo, I become Mistress Cutie! But with the hat over the do, I can again become Dark Bella. And today we're only going to talk about Dark Bella and Mistress Cutie because they were my first personalities, and we're gonna talk about my lifelong goal of becoming a professional dominatrix and what Dark Bella had to do with that. Nobody loves you, no one can stand you, you are a failure, you're gonna die soon. Nobody loves you, no one can stand you, you are a failure, you're gonna die. Nobody loves you, no one can stand you, you are a failure, you're gonna die soon. Right now, I'm kind of reminding myself of Ava from Nip Tuck. When I was 7 years old, I had a play date with Carr. And he was like the most popular boy in class. And I wore my prettiest dress and I did a cartwheel and he saw my underwear. And he said, "That's okay, I'll show you my underwear." And I'm like, "Cool." And then he's like, "You want to see it again?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And he's like, "You want to see what's underneath it?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And then he shows me his penis. And then he's like, "Now you have to show me yours." And I'm like, "What? No." And I said no. And I said no. And I said no. And I said no a whole bunch of times until he finally wore me down and I said yes and I showed him and I wasn't supposed to. And later that night I felt so upset that I told my parents, like, even though he made me promise not to. And, so every time I thought about it, I'd say, "Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata," because I liked The Lion King, and I was saying, that's in the past, I'm a new person now. I don't have to think about that anymore. And that's what I like to call the first perforation. I was perforated 7 times. I thought you were just talking about Mistress Cutie and Dark Bella. There's like 7 other perforations. But that was the first time. The other perforations came later, and they're very confusing, and we're starting with these. When I was 12 years old, I discovered and started writing my own Dragon Ball Z porn. I loved Dragon Ball Z, and I loved the strongman. I spent my spare time trying to build a DBZ porn fan site. I've been into porn for a very long time. I went on my first dominatrix interview on my 18th birthday. And it was so cool! So my mom is like, "Just letting you know, the cat's bored. You should go play with the cat because the cat is bored. Just letting you know, the cat has like nothing to do. You should go play with it." So when I met Vicky, Laird was living in my car. He lived in my car for about 6 months. I graduated high school about a half year early. That's when he started, and then about 6 months from then, he moved back in with his mom. Vicky was the victim of Rob, who would pound on her, and she would seek out guys who would pound on her for her own psychological reasons that I don't really want to talk about. And I don't want to say bad things about Vicky because I still love Vicky, but Vicky is very crazy. She's bipolar like me. She's, I simultaneously love and am driven wild by and fear everything about her. Vicky inspires me. I need to be inspired. Vicky managed to get accidentally pregnant way more times than you can accidentally get pregnant. Oh my god, this show is a train wreck. And it's being taken over by Magneto! I wanna hump your face until I break your nose and the blood drips down my thighs. I wanna hump your face until I break your nose and the blood drips down my thighs. I wanna hump your face until I break your nose and the blood drips down my thighs. And the blood drips and the blood drips, and the blood drips down my thighs. I was getting ready to try and figure out a way to blackmail my parents. It's really stupid. It's really crazy. But I wanted to blackmail them because I felt that every time I overcame one thing, they were cutting me off at the knees. I couldn't go on being a dominatrix. I wasn't making enough money. I started working as a phone sex operator instead, which meant I actually was doing sexy things over the phone, and Stoltz didn't like that. And I was dating him at the time, but I desperately needed money to get out of their house because they were driving me nuts. And I discovered I could make more money as a webcam worker than as a phone worker, so I switched to webcamming, and I built a whole webcam studio, and I made like $100 a week doing that, but I needed more, and I found out you could make more if you did photo shoots in a gallery, and that's what Vicky was doing, and I wanted to do that too, and I brought her in to shoot in my awesome room once, and my parents shut it down, and that was like the final straw. I felt they were just cutting me off at the knees, and I was getting ready to blackmail them, and I am afraid to be homeless. I will get progressively more crazy the longer I go without sleep. Once you get to 4 a.m., everything's funny at 4 a.m. if you've woken up at a reasonable hour. And once you get to the next day after, everything turns evil and bad and grumpy and homeless. My theory was I could move my webcam studio to Vicky's house, and then we could both use it. So I was gonna set her up her own studio with all my stuff so that we could share it. And she was like, I'm down for that, I'm not down for that, I'm down for that, I'm not down for that, I'm down for that, I'm not down for that. And finally I just start loading all the stuff into the car with Jay, and she gets upset because she thinks that he's cheating on her with me, which doesn't make any sense because we all were dating in a 3 triangle thing then anyway, so, you know, we would want to have the sex with her. And I still haven't had sex with those 2, and I wanna! I slept 2 hours before we had to get up for the Vagina Monologues audition. And there was a sex party, there had to be this sex party, and in the next episode, we're gonna talk about Bill Hurley. Myself with mermaids and swallows, and I do swallow. My mama thinks I'm grown, but I'm really just little, and someday I will remember. Someday I will remember. Someday I will remember. Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata.